In a world that demands quick reactions and rewards outrage, real strength is found in stillness. Imagine harnessing a power so quiet, so unshakable, it transforms chaos into calm. This is the hidden force of not reacting, mastering the moment between what happens and how you respond. Today, we'll unlock that power together. Are you ready to discover the secret that frees your mind, strengthens your spirit, and changes everything? Stay with me. Your journey to true control begins now. In the pursuit of mastering your emotions, there is one essential truth that many overlook. Your reactions are rarely about what's happening right now. They are echoes of your past, whispered fears, and unresolved stories you carry beneath the surface. These hidden forces, your emotional triggers, are the real architects of your response to life's challenges. To seize control of your mind and your peace, you must first understand these triggers deeply. An emotional trigger is not just a fleeting annoyance or an impulsive outburst. It's a potent catalyst that sets off a cascade of feelings, thoughts, and behaviors, often before you even realize it. Imagine walking into a room and accidentally stepping on a hidden nail. The pain you feel isn't caused by the nail alone. It's amplified by the injury it inflicts. Similarly, your emotional reactions are intensified by old wounds, pain, fear, shame, or anger, that have never fully healed. Reflect for a moment on your last intense emotional experience. Perhaps someone questioned your abilities, and anger instantly flared. Or maybe you felt isolated when excluded from a conversation, and loneliness suddenly engulfed you. On the surface, these moments might seem simple, but beneath them lies a deep reservoir of past experiences, shaping your present reaction. Your triggers are the fingerprints of your life story, stories written during moments of vulnerability, neglect, or hardship. These stories influence your judgments, your perceptions, and ultimately, how you react. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment about it." These judgments, these interpretations, are the real battleground for your peace. To begin mastering your emotional world, you must first shine a light on these invisible scripts. This isn't about blaming yourself or feeling weak. It's about stepping into the arena of self-awareness with courage and curiosity. Imagine yourself as a detective, meticulously examining the clues left behind by your emotional responses. Ask yourself, what am I really reacting to? Is this about the present moment, or is there a deeper story at play? When you encounter anger, hurt, or fear, resist the impulse to suppress or deny. Instead, pause and reflect. Where did this feeling begin? Is it connected to a past experience, perhaps from childhood or a significant relationship? This practice requires honesty. It demands that you face parts of yourself that might feel uncomfortable or even painful. But in that discomfort lies immense power. When you bring these buried stories into your conscious awareness, they lose their mysterious grip on you. What once controlled your reactions in the shadows becomes visible, understandable, and manageable. Consider this. Many emotional reactions are fueled by unmet needs or unresolved traumas. For instance, if criticism triggers intense defensiveness, it may echo a time when your worth was questioned, and you felt invisible or inadequate. If rejection causes deep sadness or anger, it could stem from early experiences of abandonment or exclusion. Recognizing these links is not an excuse, but a key to freedom. Developing this awareness transforms you from a reactive being into a master of your emotional landscape. Instead of being pulled under by a wave of emotion, you learn to surf it, to acknowledge the feeling without being overwhelmed by it. The first step toward this mastery is simple but profound. Cultivate the habit of observing your emotional patterns without judgment. When a powerful emotion rises, don't immediately act. Instead, take a breath. Step back mentally and ask, what am I feeling? What story is my mind telling me? Is this story based in the present reality, or is it a replay of something old? This reflective pause is where freedom lives. It's the space between stimulus and response that Viktor Frankl called the human ability to choose one's attitude. In this space, you reclaim your power. To deepen this practice, use journaling as a tool for self-exploration. Write down your emotional reactions, the circumstances that triggered them, and any memories or feelings that surface. This process externalizes your internal landscape, making hidden connections visible. It's like shining a flashlight into a dark cave. What was once hidden becomes clear. Over time, this disciplined observation rewires your brain. Your emotional triggers lose their intensity, and you become less vulnerable to being hijacked by old wounds. Your responses become more aligned with your values rather than your fears. Remember, this journey is not linear or quick. Some days you'll catch your triggers before they erupt. Other days, they may blindside you. The difference is that with each moment of awareness, you strengthen your resilience. You build a foundation that no storm can easily shake. Another critical element is understanding that your body is often the first to sense emotional triggers before your conscious mind does. You might feel a tightness in your chest, a knot in your stomach, or your heart pounding, all silent alarms signaling that something deep within has been stirred. The body's reaction is honest and immediate. It doesn't lie. The Stoics taught us to observe the mind as if from a distance, but today we recognize that true mastery begins with noticing these bodily signals. When you learn to listen to your body, you gain early warnings about emotional surges. This lets you pause before your mind spins into habitual, reactive stories. Practically, when you feel that first ripple, a clenched jaw, shallow breath, tense muscles, stop. Take a conscious breath. Center yourself. Ask, what is my body telling me right now? What is beneath this sensation? This simple practice creates a sacred pause, giving you the chance to choose your response instead of reacting unconsciously. It's important to understand that mastering your emotional triggers does not mean suppressing or denying your feelings. Emotions are valuable messengers. They tell you what matters, where your boundaries lie, what fears or hopes drive you. The goal is not to eliminate emotions, but to engage with them wisely. The Stoics themselves experienced strong emotions. Marcus Aurelius wrote candidly about his struggles with anger, frustration, and sadness. What distinguished him was his commitment to not being ruled by these feelings, to observing them, learning from them, and choosing actions aligned with his principles. Imagine your emotional triggers as wild horses. At first, they might gallop uncontrollably, dragging you along. But with training and awareness, you learn to guide them, to ride with purpose, not be dragged by chaos. You become aware that your reactions are not random or inevitable. They are responses shaped by stories you tell yourself. And you have the power to change those stories. One of the most transformative questions you can ask yourself is this story true? Is there another way to see this? For example, if rejection feels like proof of unworthiness, challenge that belief. Is it a fact, or is it a narrative shaped by fear? Could this situation be neutral, or even an opportunity for growth? This mental reframing is an act of courage and freedom. It weakens the grip of triggers and strengthens your mind's resilience. The journey to understanding your emotional triggers is the beginning of emotional sovereignty. It's about becoming the conscious author of your inner world rather than a passive victim of it. And here is the promise. As you grow in this awareness, your life changes. You respond with calm instead of chaos, with clarity instead of confusion, with wisdom instead of impulse. Your relationships deepen because you are less reactive and more present. Your decisions become stronger because they are rooted in values, not fear. Your inner peace expands because you no longer carry the invisible chains of past wounds. This is the real power of mastering your emotional triggers: freedom. The freedom to feel fully, without being enslaved by emotion. The freedom to act from strength, not weakness. The freedom to live a life defined by choice, not chance. But awareness is just the first step. To fully master your emotions, you must also learn to listen to your body, the silent alarm system that warns you before your mind can react. That is where we turn next, learning to tune into your body's signals, to recognize the earliest signs of emotional upheaval, and to create space for choice before the storm hits. Because true emotional mastery begins with listening, not just to your thoughts, but to the wisdom of your body. The path is clear. The power is within you. Step into it. You've begun the crucial journey of understanding your emotional triggers, those hidden stories and past wounds that ignite your reactions. Now it's time to delve even deeper. Because before your mind even recognizes an emotion, your body has already sounded the alarm. Your body is the first messenger, the original emotional compass guiding you through the invisible currents beneath your thoughts. Imagine your body as the most ancient, primal part of your being, the original survival system designed to keep you safe. It reacts instantly to danger, stress, and uncertainty with signals you might barely notice. A tightening in your chest, a flutter in your stomach, a clenching of your jaw, or a quickening heartbeat. These physical sensations are your emotional alarm system, the earliest warning signs that something inside you has been triggered. Too often, we ignore these subtle signals. We're distracted by the noise of daily life, lost in thought, rushing from task to task, barely aware of what our bodies are telling us. But this disconnection is costly. When we miss the body's early alerts, emotions can escalate unchecked, turning into overwhelming waves of anxiety, anger, or despair. The Stoics didn't have modern science, but they intuitively grasped this truth. Marcus Aurelius frequently wrote about observing his mind with detachment, and that observation extends naturally to his bodily sensations, the tension, the unrest, the physical stirrings that accompany emotional shifts. Today, neuroscience and psychology confirm this ancient wisdom. Your body feels first, your brain follows. To master your emotions, you must learn to listen to your body, not as a vague concept, but as a clear, practical skill. Your body is your earliest line of defense. When you tune into these signals, you gain precious seconds, moments of choice before your mind reacts. Let's explore what this looks like in real life. Have you ever felt your heart pound suddenly, your breath grow shallow, or your stomach twist in knots without an obvious cause? Maybe your shoulders tighten, your hands clench, or a heat rises in your face. These are your body's first alarm bells. They signal that an emotional reaction is brewing: anger, fear, shame, or overwhelm. Your nervous system is firing alerts, preparing you for fight, flight, or freeze. This biological response once saved your ancestors from immediate threats, predators, natural disasters, physical danger. But today, it often responds to less obvious triggers: stressful emails, difficult conversations, social rejection, or internal fears. Your body can't tell the difference between a physical threat and a perceived threat in your mind. It just reacts. The first step in mastering your emotional alarm system is to develop awareness of these sensations. This requires slowing down, tuning in, and paying attention to your physical state throughout the day. It's a simple practice but demands discipline. Start by checking in with yourself regularly. How does your body feel right now? Is your jaw clenched? Are your shoulders tense? Is your breath shallow or deep? This moment-to-moment awareness becomes your emotional early warning system. You begin to notice patterns, how your body reacts before your mind even has time to label the emotion. When you feel that first flicker of tension, don't push it away or distract yourself. Instead, meet it. Place your hand on your chest, breathe into the sensation, and acknowledge it without judgment. This act of listening is powerful. It interrupts the automatic chain reaction from sensation to thought to action. It opens a pause, a sacred space where choice lives. From this pause, you can ask yourself, what is this sensation trying to tell me? What is beneath this feeling? Is it fear of failure? Anxiety about the unknown? Anger from feeling disrespected? When you ask these questions with curiosity, your body becomes a guide, not a tyrant. The next step is learning to regulate these physical signals through conscious breath and movement. Breath is your most immediate and accessible tool. When tension rises, heart racing, breath shallow, slow your breathing intentionally. Inhale deeply for a count of 4. Hold briefly. Exhale slowly for a count of 6 or 8. This simple rhythm sends a signal to your nervous system: I am safe. There is no immediate danger. It calms the fight or flight response, lowers your heart rate, relaxes muscles, and centers your mind. Movement is another vital ally. When your body tightens or your mind spirals, get up. Walk. Stretch. Shake out your limbs. Physical motion helps discharge built-up energy and prevents emotional tension from turning into explosive reactions. This is not about avoidance but about balance, allowing your body to release what it's holding so your mind can respond with clarity. It takes practice to become fluent in this body language, to recognize the earliest signs before they grow into storms. But the rewards are profound. Instead of being swept away by sudden anger or anxiety, you cultivate a calm presence that can hold space for any emotion without being overwhelmed. Imagine walking into a difficult situation, an argument, a stressful deadline, a personal conflict. You feel the familiar tightening in your chest, the quickening pulse. Instead of reacting immediately, you pause, breathe, and listen. You identify the signal early. This is fear. This is frustration. With this awareness, you choose your response, not from impulse but from wisdom. This is emotional sovereignty. This is the difference between being a slave to your feelings and being the master of your experience. But don't expect this to come overnight. Your body and mind have spent years conditioned to react automatically. Breaking these habits requires patience, persistence, and compassion for yourself. Celebrate the small victories, catching a trigger early, taking a deep breath instead of snapping, noticing tension before it becomes rage. These moments build momentum. Over time, they create a new default, a calm, measured way of being that others will notice and respect. This practice also deepens your empathy. When you learn to listen to your own body's messages, you become more attuned to others' unspoken signals. You see that everyone carries invisible burdens and reacts from deep wells of fear or pain. You become less reactive to their triggers, more grounded in your own center. This steadiness becomes a source of calm in your relationships and communities. As you master the art of listening to your body, you also unlock a profound insight. Emotions are transient. They arise, peak, and pass like waves. When you learn to ride the waves instead of fighting them, you find peace. You learn that the storm within does not define you. It is a visitor, not a resident. Now, equipped with the skill to listen to your body and regulate your physical responses, the next phase of your journey is to create a pause between sensation and reaction, a sacred gap where freedom lives. This pause is the birthplace of true choice. The Stoics called it the interval, the space where you step back from impulse and respond with reason and virtue. Without this pause, you are a puppet of your emotions. With it, you become the conductor of your life's orchestra. In that space, you decide, will I let this feeling control me, or will I respond with clarity? Developing this pause takes practice and discipline. It is not about suppressing feelings, but about mastering the moment when your body alerts you, your mind wants to act, and you choose to breathe instead. In that breath, your power awakens. Your life transforms. So take this knowledge with you. Your body is your first line of emotional defense. Listen to its whispers before they become screams. Breathe into tension. Move to release it. Pause before you act. And remember, this practice is the foundation of all emotional mastery. From here, you will build the skill to master your thoughts, reframe your judgments, and ultimately control your reactions. The journey ahead is challenging, but it is the path to unshakable peace. And that next step, mastering your mind's judgment, is where we head next. Because understanding your triggers and listening to your body is just the beginning. True strength lies in what you choose to do next. Before every reaction lies a moment, often invisible, yet immensely powerful. This is the sacred pause, the space between what happens to you, the stimulus, and how you respond. It is a brief but profound interval where freedom lives. It is where your power lies. In that pause, you are no longer a slave to impulse, no longer caught in the automatic chain reaction of sensation, thought, and reaction. Instead, you become a conscious participant in your own life, choosing your actions deliberately and with intention. This pause, small and subtle as it may be, is the foundation of emotional mastery, self-control, and unshakable inner peace. Too often, we move straight from stimulus to reaction, like a match igniting dry grass. Anger erupts, fear grips, anxiety spirals, and regret follows. We lose ourselves in moments that flash by faster than we can catch them. But what if you could interrupt that chain? What if you could expand that tiny gap and use it to choose wisely? This is the art and science of creating the sacred pause. The Stoics understood this timeless truth. Epictetus said it clearly. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. This is no philosophical abstraction, it's a practical tool. A skill you can develop, a muscle you can strengthen. The sacred pause is the invisible battlefield where your inner freedom is won or lost. Think about your daily life. How many times do you leap to judgment, lash out, or shut down, only to regret it moments later? How many conversations end in conflict because no pause existed to cool the fire? How many opportunities to respond with wisdom and calm pass you by because reaction was faster than reflection? This pause is your chance to rewrite those stories, to change the course of your day, your relationships, your life. So how do you create it? It begins with awareness, noticing the first ripple of emotion or tension in your body, just as you learned to do in the last step. When you sense that familiar tightening in your chest or quickening in your breath, that is your cue. The sacred pause is here. You're invited to step back. And stepping back means stopping, physically and mentally. When an emotional wave rises, don't dive headfirst. Don't speak or act immediately. Instead, slow down. Slow your breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Anchor yourself in the present moment. Breathing deeply is the gateway. Inhale slowly. Hold briefly. Exhale fully. This simple act shifts your nervous system from fight or flight to calm presence. It gives your brain the time it needs to engage the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for reason, judgment, and choice. In that quiet moment, you can ask yourself, What am I really feeling? What I want to do? What aligns with who I aspire to be? This is the essence of conscious response. Creating the pause is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. It's about honoring the feeling, observing it, and choosing your action from a place of clarity rather than chaos. And yes, this is difficult. Your biology is wired for speed. When you feel threatened, your body floods with energy, urging you to act fast, to fight, flee, or freeze. This instinct once saved your life. Today, it can sabotage your relationships and well-being. But here's the empowering truth. Your biology is powerful, but your mind is more powerful still. You can train it to pause, to breathe, to choose. Start small. In a meeting where frustration bubbles up, feel the tension rise, and then breathe before speaking. When someone cuts you off in traffic, resist the urge to honk or yell. Instead, inhale deeply, slow your pulse, and decide calmly what to do. In moments of self-doubt or fear, pause before reacting to the inner critic. Notice the thought. Label it. Then choose a kinder, wiser response. These small pauses accumulate, rewiring your brain over time. They create new neural pathways of patience, calm, and self-mastery. Imagine your life as a song. Every note you play matters, but so do the silences between the notes. Without pause, music becomes noise. Without reflection, life becomes reaction. This sacred pause is the silence between notes, the space where meaning emerges. When you master this pause, you don't just survive life's storms, you navigate them with grace. You become a calm center in a chaotic world, a steady presence others seek out, a person who responds with power, not panic, with clarity, not confusion. But cultivating this pause requires intention and practice. Begin by bringing mindfulness into your daily routine. Set simple reminders to check in with yourself. Ask regularly, am I reacting or responding? When you notice reaction, consciously create a pause. Take 3 deep breaths. Step back mentally. Reflect on your values and goals. You might feel awkward at first. Impulsive habits are strong. You may miss the pause sometimes, and that's okay. Growth is not linear. It's messy, imperfect, and ongoing. What matters is persistence. The choice to pause again, and again. This practice transforms your inner landscape. It teaches you to observe emotions without being swept away. It creates space for wisdom to rise above impulse. It builds resilience, the strength to face difficulty without being undone. Beyond the personal benefits, creating this pause changes your relationships. Instead of fueling conflict, you diffuse tension. Instead of reacting with anger or fear, you respond with understanding and kindness. This doesn't mean passivity or weakness. It means choosing strength over reaction, choosing courage over chaos, choosing freedom over enslavement to impulse. And when your pause becomes a habit, your whole life changes. You don't just react to life, you shape it. You don't just survive your emotions, you master them. And you don't just dream of peace, you live it. Now here's the exciting part. This sacred pause is the doorway to deeper practices. Once you can pause and respond consciously, you open the path to mastering your thoughts, reframing your judgments, and living with emotional sovereignty. Because awareness without action is incomplete. The pause is where reflection meets choice. It's where you step off the reactive treadmill and onto the path of intentional living. Next, we will explore how to harness this pause to reframe your thoughts, to challenge the stories your mind tells you, and reclaim control of your internal world. Remember, every moment you pause is a victory. Every breath you take in that space builds a stronger, freer you. This is the power of the sacred pause, the greatest strength you can cultivate in a noisy, fast-moving world. So breathe deeply. Step back, and claim your freedom in the space between stimulus and response. Your journey to mastery continues. You've learned how to create the sacred pause, the powerful space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. Now it's time to build on that foundation and bring mindfulness into your daily life. Because mindfulness isn't some distant, mystical practice reserved for monks or silent retreats. It's a radical act of presence, a conscious choice to fully inhabit each moment, even the ordinary ones. In a world that never slows down, where distractions bombard us from every direction, practicing mindfulness is like planting a flag of calm and clarity in the storm of your daily experience. It's the intentional shift from autopilot to awareness, from reaction to reflection. Mindfulness is simple but profound. It means paying attention on purpose to what's happening right now, without judgment, without distraction. It's about meeting life as it is, not as you wish it would be. You don't need special tools or hours of meditation to begin. Mindfulness starts with the ordinary moments you already live: eating, walking, talking, even breathing. Imagine eating your next meal not as a rushed obligation, but as an experience to savor. Notice the colors, the textures, the flavors. Feel the movement of your hand, the rhythm of your chewing. Taste each bite fully. When you eat mindfully, you not only nourish your body but awaken your senses and settle your mind. Or consider walking. Instead of letting your thoughts wander or scrolling through your phone, feel your feet connect with the ground. Notice the weight shifting from heel to toe. Hear the sounds around you, the wind, the birds, the distant hum of the city. Smell the air. Be fully there. Speaking mindfully transforms your relationships. When you listen fully, without planning your response or judging the other person, you create real connection. Your words become intentional, your presence felt. You stop reacting and start responding. These simple shifts might seem small, but they hold immense power. Mindfulness is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it grows. Over time, it rewires your brain for calm, focus, and resilience. Why is this so important? Because without mindfulness, life slips by unnoticed. You become a passenger, driven by old habits, conditioned reactions, and scattered attention. The moments you crave, joy, peace, connection, pass like shadows. The Stoics, though they didn't call it mindfulness, practiced this deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself constantly to stay present, to focus on the task at hand, to align his actions with his values no matter how small or mundane the moment. Mindfulness is the antidote to the chaos of modern life. It cuts through the noise of worry about the future and regret over the past. It grounds you in the reality of now, the only time you truly have. But mindfulness is not about escaping life or avoiding problems. It's about engaging with life fully and wisely. When you're mindful, you notice your thoughts and emotions without being overwhelmed by them. You see frustration rise before it explodes. You feel anxiety settle in your chest and choose to breathe through it instead of spiraling. Mindfulness gives you the ability to catch your reaction in its infancy, to step into that sacred pause more naturally and more often. It sharpens your internal observer, that wise part of you that can witness without judgment and choose with clarity. Practicing mindfulness daily is easier than you think. It begins with small intentional acts. Start your morning by simply noticing your breath. Before your feet hit the floor, take 3 slow, deep breaths. Feel the air filling your lungs, your chest rising and falling. Let this be your moment of grounding before the day's storm begins. When you brush your teeth, don't rush through the motions. Feel the brush in your hand, the taste of the toothpaste, the sensation of cleansing. This is your moment of presence. Throughout your day, build tiny mindful pauses. Before opening your email or social media, pause. Take a breath. Set an intention. Approach the screen as a tool, not a distraction. When you sit in traffic or stand in line, resist the urge to check your phone or drift into frustration. Instead, notice the sounds around you, the feeling of your body sitting, your breath moving. When you feel your mind spinning with worry or irritation, bring yourself back with a simple phrase: here, now. Breath. Mindfulness is not about perfection. You won't be fully present every moment, and that's okay. The key is to return again and again, to catch yourself drifting and gently guide your attention back. This steady practice reshapes your relationship with yourself and the world. You become less reactive, more centered. You discover that peace is not something to chase, but something to cultivate moment by moment. In relationships, mindfulness deepens empathy. When you listen with full attention, you understand others better. You respond with kindness instead of defensiveness. You create space for connection instead of conflict. At work, mindfulness enhances focus and creativity. Instead of being overwhelmed by multitasking, you tackle one task at a time, fully engaged. Your efficiency rises, your stress diminishes. In solitude, mindfulness becomes a sanctuary. You learn to be with yourself without judgment or distraction. You explore your thoughts and feelings with curiosity, not fear. And the greatest gift? Mindfulness helps you meet life's inevitable challenges with steadiness. Storms still come, loss, disappointment, uncertainty. But when you are grounded in the present, you are not tossed by the waves. You find a calm center within that holds, no matter what rages outside. This daily presence builds resilience. It trains your mind and heart to be steady, open, and strong. So, how do you keep this practice alive? Create rituals. Anchor mindfulness to daily habits, your morning coffee, your commute, your bedtime routine. Use reminders, alarms, notes, or an object that catches your eye to prompt you to return to presence. Make mindfulness a community effort. Share your journey with friends, join groups, or find a mentor who supports your practice. Remember, mindfulness is not about adding something extra to your busy life. It's about changing the quality of what's already there. Every moment holds the possibility for awakening. The practice is the path. As you cultivate mindfulness, you also prepare yourself for the next step in your journey, learning to reframe your thoughts. Because mindfulness gives you the space to see your mental habits clearly. It allows you to notice the stories you tell yourself, the judgments, the assumptions, the negative narratives that fuel suffering. And with that clarity, you gain the power to change those stories, to reclaim control over your mind, to build a mindset of resilience and freedom. Your next step is to learn how to question those automatic thoughts and reframe them in a way that serves your growth and peace. Mindfulness is your foundation. Reframing is your tool. Together, they unlock the door to emotional mastery. So breathe deeply. Step into the present. Notice fully. Your path to freedom continues, one mindful moment at a time. Mindfulness opens the door, but deep self-awareness is the key that unlocks the room where true transformation happens. It's the journey from simply noticing what's around you to understanding who you really are, your patterns, your motivations, your fears, and your deepest truths. Cultivating self-awareness is not a luxury or an abstract concept reserved for philosophers. It is the foundation of strength, wisdom, and freedom. It is the quiet power behind every deliberate choice you make. Think about this. How well do you really know yourself? How often do you act on autopilot, driven by habits and reactions that don't serve you? How many times have you wondered why you keep repeating the same mistakes, falling into the same emotional traps, or feeling disconnected from your own life? Self-awareness invites you to become the observer of your own mind and heart. To watch your thoughts, feelings, and impulses rise and fall like waves, not as enemies to fight, but as signals to understand. This is radical because it demands courage, the courage to look inward without flinching, to face uncomfortable truths, and to accept yourself fully. Self-awareness is not about judgment or self-criticism. It is about clarity. Seeing yourself honestly, without distortion or denial. It's about holding a mirror to your mind and soul and saying, "This is me, and I'm ready to understand." Why is this so crucial? Because without self-awareness, you are at the mercy of forces you don't even realize control you, old wounds, unconscious fears, reactive habits. But with it, you gain the power to choose, to interrupt old patterns, to grow beyond your limits. Self-awareness begins with observation. It's the practice of watching your inner landscape with curiosity and patience. When anger rises, don't just react. Pause and ask, what sparked this anger? What story am I telling myself? When sadness or anxiety surfaces, instead of pushing it away, explore where you feel it in your body. What memories or expectations fuel it? When pride or shame comes knocking, notice the narrative behind them. What are you protecting? What truth are you avoiding? This level of awareness takes practice and discipline. It demands that you become both the explorer and the guardian of your inner world. Journaling is a powerful tool on this path. Writing down your thoughts and feelings gives them form and clarity. It helps you see what was tangled and hidden. But self-awareness is more than just introspection. It is about honesty. Honesty with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses, about your fears and desires, about where you are aligned with your values and where you are betraying them. It is easy to see the faults in others, much harder to see the shadows inside your own mind. But the Stoics taught that true mastery begins there. Marcus Aurelius, one of history's greatest Stoics, spent his days reflecting on his own mind, questioning his impulses and challenging his judgments. He knew that without self-awareness, peace is impossible. When you cultivate this deep awareness, you no longer live in reaction to yourself. You learn to separate who you are from what you feel or think in any given moment. You become the steady center watching the storms pass. This creates a profound inner freedom. It allows you to respond instead of react, to choose clarity over confusion, to hold space for growth instead of falling into judgment. Of course, cultivating self-awareness is not always comfortable. You will encounter parts of yourself you dislike or fear. You may confront regrets, insecurities, or hidden biases. But facing these honestly disarms their power. By shining light into the shadows, you shrink their influence, and you open the door to healing. The process of self-awareness is ongoing. It's a lifelong conversation with yourself. Some days you will feel clear, strong, and aligned. Other days you may stumble, lose perspective, or fall back into old patterns. That's part of the journey. What matters is persistence, not perfection. Every moment you choose observation over judgment, curiosity over fear, you strengthen your capacity to live intentionally. Self-awareness also cultivates compassion. When you truly see yourself, flaws and all, you begin to accept your humanity. This acceptance opens your heart, not only to yourself, but to others. You realize everyone carries their own hidden struggles and stories. You become less quick to judge, more ready to understand. This quiet shift transforms your relationships. You communicate with more patience, listen with more empathy, and respond with more kindness. Self-awareness anchors you in a steadiness that no external chaos can easily shake. You become resilient, not because you are untouched by life's challenges, but because you know yourself deeply enough to navigate them with grace. Now, how do you cultivate this deep self-awareness practically? Start by creating moments of reflection in your daily life. Set aside time, even just a few minutes, to check in with your mind and heart. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? What thoughts keep repeating? What patterns am I noticing in my reactions? How aligned am I with my values today? Practice observing without rushing to fix or judge. Use journaling to track these insights. Write freely and honestly. Over time, patterns emerge. You see what drives your fears, what triggers your pride, what nourishes your joy. Combine this with the mindfulness skills you've already built. Use your awareness of breath, body, and emotions as anchors to stay present during reflection. Invite a spirit of curiosity, like a scientist exploring new terrain. Remember, self-awareness is not self-judgment. It's self-clarity. It's not about beating yourself up for mistakes. It's about understanding them so you can learn and grow. And as you deepen this practice, you prepare yourself for the next powerful step, learning how to name and accept your emotions fully. Because awareness without acceptance is incomplete. Understanding your feelings and giving them space without judgment builds emotional maturity. It frees you from being ruled by your emotions or hiding from them. That is the next chapter in your journey toward mastery. For now, embrace the practice of deep self-awareness. See yourself clearly. Hold yourself kindly. Stand steady and open in the light of your own truth. Every moment you do, you lay another brick in the foundation of your freedom. The freedom to live not by habit or fear, but by choice and wisdom. This is your path, your power, your becoming. Emotions, they rise up inside us like waves, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce, shaping the way we experience life. Yet, many of us have been taught to fear them, to push them down, to deny their power. But what if the true strength lies not in suppression, but in understanding? Not in control through denial, but mastery through acceptance? The next step on your journey to emotional mastery is this: label your emotions. Name them. Claim them. Accept them. Why is this so vital? Because you cannot master what you refuse to acknowledge. Emotions are not enemies or weaknesses. They are messengers, vital signals from your inner world. They tell you what matters, where your boundaries lie, what your fears and hopes are. Yet, if left unnamed, emotions become vague, overwhelming storms inside your mind. They swirl with confusing power, driving reactions that don't align with your values or intentions. Labeling emotions transforms that storm into a map. When you name an emotion, this is anger, this is fear, this is sadness, you create space between yourself and the feeling. You step back from being swept away to becoming the observer of the wave. This simple act creates a powerful shift. Suddenly, the emotion is no longer a vague, overwhelming force controlling you. It becomes a signal you can understand and respond to wisely. Imagine riding a wild horse. Without reins, it tosses you about, unpredictable and dangerous. But when you hold the reins, when you know where you are and what you feel, you guide the ride instead of being tossed. Labeling is that reins. It's a practice of courage and honesty. It means looking at your inner world and saying, "This is what I feel." I do not have to hide it or be afraid of it. It means dropping the false belief that emotions make you weak. The Stoics, often misunderstood as cold or detached, actually embraced this wisdom. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." And that includes adversity within, our own emotions. They did not advocate suppressing feelings, but understanding and mastering them. To label your emotions effectively, start by expanding your emotional vocabulary. Too often, we boil complex feelings down to broad categories: happy, sad, angry, scared. But emotions are rich, nuanced, and varied. You might feel frustration, irritation, disappointment, resentment, all variations of anger, but each with its own story and trigger. Or anxiety, worry, apprehension, dread, each shading fear differently. By learning to name these nuances, you increase your awareness and precision. Try this. When a strong feeling arises, pause and ask yourself, what exactly am I feeling? Is this anger? Or is it frustration? Is this sadness? Or a deeper sense of loss? Label it clearly. This is the start of emotional literacy, the ability to recognize and understand your feelings. Once labeled, the next vital step is acceptance. Acceptance does not mean you approve of every feeling or resign yourself to being controlled by it. Acceptance means recognizing that this emotion is present. It exists. It is part of your experience. When you resist emotions, when you deny, suppress, or fight them, you give them hidden power. Like a shadow in the dark, the harder you push it away, the larger it looms. Acceptance shines the light of awareness directly on your emotions. It says, you are here. I see you. I acknowledge you. You do not define me. This act of acceptance is a profound form of strength. It requires humility to admit you are human, subject to a full spectrum of feelings. It requires courage to allow yourself to feel without shame or avoidance. And it requires wisdom to hold the space for emotion without letting it dictate your actions. Think of emotions as weather. Some days are sunny and clear. Others bring storms, wind, and rain. You do not stand outside and yell at the rain to stop. You accept that it is raining and decide how to move forward. Do you take an umbrella? Seek shelter? Dance in the rain? Emotions are like that. You accept them, learn from them, and choose your response. Practicing labeling and acceptance daily rewires your brain. It builds emotional resilience. It transforms you from a reactive victim into a conscious participant in your own life. This practice also deepens your compassion for yourself and for others. When you recognize the complexity and validity of your own emotions, you become more patient and understanding with the emotions of those around you. You see that beneath anger often lies pain. Behind frustration, unmet needs. Behind fear, vulnerability. This empathy does not mean tolerating harmful behavior. It means understanding the human condition, your own and others, and responding with clarity and kindness. How do you cultivate this practice? Start small. When you feel a strong emotion rising, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, what is this? What am I feeling? Say it quietly or aloud. This is anger. This is sadness. Allow the feeling to be present without pushing it away or amplifying it. Notice where you feel it in your body. Is your chest tight? Your stomach fluttering? Your jaw clenched? This physical awareness grounds your emotional experience and connects mind and body. As you label and accept, avoid judging yourself. You might notice thoughts like, I shouldn't feel this way, or this is bad. Recognize these judgments as separate from the emotion. Gently set them aside. Remember, emotions are data, not destiny. They inform you, but do not have to control you. With practice, you'll notice a powerful transformation. What once overwhelmed you becomes manageable. What once triggered panic becomes a signal to pause and reflect. You gain the ability to move through emotions without getting stuck. Instead of running from fear, you meet it. Instead of lashing out in anger, you understand its message. Instead of drowning in sadness, you honor it and begin to heal. This is mastery. It is freedom. And it sets the stage for your next step, reframing your thoughts. Because labeling and accepting emotions open the door to seeing the stories your mind tells about those emotions. Those automatic, often unconscious thoughts that shape your experience. Once you see them clearly, you can question and change them. You can reclaim your mind from negativity and limiting beliefs. But for now, focus deeply on the power of naming and accepting your emotions. Make it your daily ritual. Practice with patience. Celebrate every moment of awareness as a victory. You are learning not to fear your feelings, but to listen to them. Not to be ruled by them, but to be guided by their wisdom. This is the path of emotional sovereignty. The path of the wise. Step boldly forward. Our minds are powerful storytellers. Every day they weave narratives that shape how we feel, how we act, and ultimately who we become. But what if many of these stories are holding us back? What if the way we interpret the world, ourselves, and our struggles is clouded by negativity and distortion? The truth is, it's not the events themselves that cause our pain. It's the stories we tell ourselves about those events. And the great news is, those stories can be changed. Reframing negative thoughts is one of the most profound tools you can master on your journey toward emotional freedom and resilience. When you reframe, you don't deny reality or pretend that everything is perfect. You don't tell yourself lies to feel better. Instead, you choose to see your experiences through a different lens, a lens that empowers rather than imprisons you. Imagine you're walking through a forest. Negative thoughts are like dense fog, blurring your vision, hiding the path ahead. Reframing is like the sun breaking through the mist, revealing new possibilities and clearer directions. Let's explore how this powerful shift works. First, it begins with awareness. You've already started this journey by learning to label and accept your emotions. Now, you begin to notice the thoughts that accompany those emotions. What are you telling yourself when you feel fear? When anger rises? When sadness settles? Are those thoughts true? Are they helpful? Or are they automatic reactions, stories shaped by past experiences, fears, and biases that don't serve your highest good? The Stoics knew this well. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This reaction, this interpretation, starts in the mind. And it's here you hold incredible power. Reframing negative thoughts means questioning the first story your mind offers you. It means pausing to ask, is this the only way to see this? Is this thought really true? Is it helping me or holding me back? For example, if someone cancels plans, your mind might instantly say, they don't care about me. I'm always left out. But what if you pause and consider other possibilities? Maybe they had an emergency. Maybe they're overwhelmed. Maybe this isn't about you at all. This pause creates a space where new, more balanced thoughts can enter. You shift from feeling rejected to feeling curious. You give yourself room to see the bigger picture. Reframing is not about naive optimism or ignoring pain. It's about realistic flexibility, the ability to hold multiple perspectives and choose the one that serves your peace and growth. This practice requires intentionality. It means catching your automatic thoughts, the first narratives your brain spins, and shining the light of scrutiny on them. When you catch a negative thought, don't shove it away. Don't beat yourself up for having it. Instead, name it. Say, this is a thought, not a fact. Then ask, is this thought true? Is there evidence for it? Is there evidence against it? Is this thought helpful? Is it aligned with the reality I want to create? These questions invite clarity. They loosen the grip of limiting beliefs. They help you see that thoughts are just that, thoughts. Temporary mental events that do not define you. One of the most transformative reframes is learning to see setbacks not as failures, but as lessons. When you fail or stumble, your mind might say, I'm a failure. I'll never get this right. Reframe that to, this is a step on my path. What can I learn here? How can I improve? This shift fuels growth instead of despair. It moves you from being stuck in defeat to being motivated by possibility. Another powerful reframe involves changing the meaning you assign to criticism. When someone critiques you, it's easy to think, I'm not good enough. But what if you see criticism as feedback? Information that can help you refine your skills, your character? This mindset turns an emotional trigger into an opportunity for growth. Reframing negative thoughts also extends to how you view yourself. The stories you tell about your worth, your abilities, your future shape your confidence and courage. Catch those moments when your mind whispers, I'm not enough, or I can't do this. Challenge those whispers with truth. You are enough. You are capable. You are a work in progress, growing stronger every day. This isn't empty affirmation. It's the realistic truth when you reframe from self-criticism to self-empowerment. Over time, reframing creates a new mental habit. Instead of defaulting to negativity, your mind learns to look for alternative, healthier interpretations. You develop mental flexibility, the capacity to hold multiple viewpoints, to question your assumptions, and to choose your story. This flexibility is a cornerstone of resilience, because life will always throw challenges your way. You cannot control everything that happens, but you can control how you interpret and respond to it. Reframing negative thoughts gives you that control. It strengthens your inner narrative so that when storms come, you are anchored. It changes your inner dialogue from harsh judge to wise coach. But be patient. Like all deep changes, this takes time and practice. There will be moments when the old stories shout louder than the new ones. When negativity feels like a default mode. That's normal. Don't judge yourself for struggling. Instead, keep coming back to the practice. Every time you pause, question, and reframe, you build new neural pathways. You reshape your mind. And little by little, the fog lifts. Your vision clears. You reclaim your power. This practice also connects beautifully with your growing self-awareness. The more you understand your emotions and thought patterns, the easier it becomes to catch negative spirals early. You become a master navigator of your mind, steering through rough waters with intention and skill. Reframing negative thoughts also deepens your compassion. You see yourself with more kindness when you stumble. You understand that everyone fights internal battles. You stop beating yourself up for having difficult thoughts or feelings. Instead, you treat yourself like a friend in need of support. This kindness fuels resilience. It builds a foundation of emotional safety where growth can flourish. Reframing is a revolutionary act of self-care and self-mastery. It frees you from the tyranny of automatic negativity. It empowers you to choose peace over panic, hope over despair. It turns obstacles into opportunities and setbacks into stepping stones. The path ahead is clear. Master your thoughts, and you master your life. The next stage of this journey is to deepen your emotional wisdom by practicing empathy and compassion, not just for others, but importantly for yourself. Because self-compassion is the soil from which lasting strength grows. But before we move there, take a moment to appreciate how far you've come. You are learning not to be a passive victim of your mind. You are learning to be the conscious author of your story. Every thought reframed, every negative narrative challenged, brings you closer to freedom. So lean into this practice. Be patient, be persistent. You are reshaping your inner world. And through this, you are transforming your life. True strength is often mistaken for hardness. We are taught that to be strong means to be unfeeling, to armor ourselves against the world's challenges, to build walls so high that nothing can penetrate. But the deepest, most enduring strength is found not in rigidity or coldness. It is found in openness, in the quiet courage of empathy and compassion. Empathy is the extraordinary ability to step outside yourself and truly see the world through another person's eyes. It's not just understanding their words or actions, but sensing the emotions beneath them, their fears, their hopes, their pain. Compassion is the choice that follows empathy, the choice to meet that understanding with kindness, to hold space for another's suffering without judgment, and to respond with a heart that is both gentle and resilient. While these qualities may seem directed outward, their roots always begin within. Practicing empathy for others means recognizing that everyone is fighting battles unseen. The colleague who snaps at you in frustration is often carrying burdens you cannot see. The stranger who cuts you off in traffic might be overwhelmed by fears or loss. The friend who disappoints you may be wrestling with their own struggles. The Stoics teach us not to be quick to anger or harsh judgment, not because injustice or pain don't exist, but because anger clouds clarity and compassion frees us. Marcus Aurelius advised himself, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself, what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" In recognizing our shared humanity and imperfections, we soften the sharpness of judgment that poisons our own peace. Empathy is not about excusing harmful behavior or surrendering your boundaries. It's about understanding the human experience beneath the surface, seeing that many actions arise from wounds, fears, and unmet needs rather than malice. This understanding is a shield, not a surrender. It allows you to see hurt without being consumed by it, to hold your center steady in a world that often spins in chaos. But what about compassion for yourself? This is often the harder path. We tend to be our own harshest critics, judging ourselves with a severity we would never apply to a friend. We forgive others for mistakes we won't forgive in our own hearts. We offer kindness to others while condemning ourselves for the same failures. Practicing self-compassion means daring to meet yourself with the same kindness, patience, and understanding you extend to others. It means acknowledging your imperfections without letting them define you, embracing the fact that growth is messy, that mistakes are inevitable, and that you are always a work in progress. Seneca wisely said, "No man becomes great all at once." Growth is a process. Mastery is a journey. And on this journey, there will be days when you lose your temper, act from fear, or fall short of your ideals. Compassion means meeting these moments not with shame or self-loathing, but with curiosity, asking, "What can I learn here? How can I move forward a little wiser, a little stronger?" Self-compassion is not an excuse to avoid responsibility. True compassion is rooted in accountability. It's the recognition that I made a mistake and I own it, but I do not define myself by it. I will learn. I will continue. This mindset transforms failure from a dead end into a doorway to resilience, to deeper understanding, to the kind of wisdom that only comes from walking through the fire and choosing not to be consumed by it. Together, empathy and compassion cultivate a mind that is both sharp and soft. Sharp enough to see clearly, to set boundaries, to act with integrity. Soft enough to respond with grace, patience, and love. They protect you from bitterness and cynicism. They keep your heart supple even when the world gives you every reason to harden it. In practical terms, every day offers countless opportunities to practice. When someone speaks harshly to you, will you react with anger or respond with understanding? When you feel disappointment or hurt, will you close off or open yourself to connection? When your own mind berates you for a mistake, will you listen to the critic or choose the voice of kindness? The choice is always yours. And with each choice toward empathy and compassion, you grow stronger. Not in the brittle, defensive way of someone who can't be touched, but in the profound way of someone who cannot be broken. The practice of empathy and compassion begins with presence, being fully present to yourself and others, without distraction or judgment. It requires humility, the willingness to admit that we all carry hidden wounds, and that no one walks a perfect path. It asks for patience, because empathy is not instant. It grows with time, with listening, with openness. It asks for courage, because it means stepping into vulnerability, letting down walls, and risking being hurt. But the rewards are beyond measure. Empathy builds bridges where walls once stood. Compassion heals wounds no medicine can reach. Together, they transform relationships, deepen connections, and foster communities where people are seen, heard, and valued. And most importantly, they transform you, from someone reacting to the world in fear or anger, to someone who moves through life with quiet strength and radiant grace. This transformation naturally leads to another vital step, taking full responsibility for your reactions. Because empathy and compassion give you the insight to see clearly, but responsibility gives you the power to choose how you respond. It is not about blame or guilt. It is about reclaiming your sovereignty. Choosing how you react is the ultimate expression of freedom. It is the inner fortress no one can breach. It is the source of peace that no external chaos can shake. As you continue this journey, remember, empathy and compassion are not signs of weakness. They are the highest forms of strength. They are the steady heartbeat beneath the storms, the gentle fire that warms and lights the darkest nights. Embrace them. Practice them daily. Let them shape not only how you see the world, but how you shape your place within it. And with that strength, you will be ready to step into the next phase, owning your reactions, setting your boundaries, and standing firmly in your truth. True freedom is not found in controlling the world around you. That illusion traps countless souls in frustration and despair. Real freedom, the kind that no one can take from you, begins the moment you accept a simple, unflinching truth. You are responsible for your reactions. Not for what happens to you, not for what others say or do, but for the meaning you give those events, for the thoughts you entertain in response, for the choices you make about how you respond. This is the core teaching of Stoicism, a philosophy built on empowering the individual to master their inner world, regardless of outer chaos. Epictetus, a great Stoic teacher, famously said, "We are disturbed not by things, but by the views we take of them." Consider that for a moment. It is not the event itself that disturbs your peace. It is your judgment, your interpretation, your choice to react in a certain way. And the power to choose your reaction is always within your control, even when everything else is not. Taking full responsibility for your reactions is a profound act of ownership. It means refusing to be a victim of circumstance or another person's behavior. It means stepping into your sovereignty, claiming your inner power, and recognizing that your peace, your growth, your dignity are yours to protect and cultivate. No one else can do this for you. But this ownership is not about blame or self-flagellation. It is not about harshly criticizing yourself every time you feel anger or pain. Rather, it is a quiet, powerful decision to engage with yourself honestly, to see where your reactions come from, and to ask, is this reaction serving me? Is this choice aligned with who I want to be? When you take responsibility, you stop handing your peace over to every passing circumstance. You stop allowing a stranger's rudeness, a colleague's criticism, or a sudden setback to dictate your mood or your worth. Instead, you become the calm sky above the storms, the steady anchor amid shifting tides. This shift is neither easy nor instantaneous. It demands brutal honesty with yourself. It means letting go of excuses and the comfortable narrative of victimhood. It requires the courage to stop waiting for apologies that may never come, to stop hoping for circumstances to improve before you decide to be calm and centered. Most of all, it requires that you stop measuring your inner state by outer conditions. Your peace cannot depend on everything going well, because life will never be perfectly smooth. It will challenge you, test you, sometimes break you. But if you root your power in your ability to choose your reaction, you become unbreakable. There is a certain comfort in blaming others. It absolves us from the hard work of change. It makes the world the villain and us the helpless victims. But comfort is not freedom. Freedom is uncomfortable. It demands the humility to admit, I chose this thought. I fed this emotion. I acted from this impulse. Responsibility does not mean perfection. You will still feel the sting of anger, the pull of sadness, the surge of fear. You are human. But with responsibility, you catch yourself quicker. You step back sooner. You own the process rather than being owned by it. Marcus Aurelius, facing betrayals, wars, and the endless pressures of empire, reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Strength, the real kind, is not found in controlling the uncontrollable. It is found in mastering what is always within your reach, your interpretation, your intention, your response. When you take full responsibility for your reactions, a transformation begins. Criticism no longer destroys you, it informs you. Setbacks no longer define you, they refine you. Other people's behavior no longer dictates your inner weather. You become the steady sky above passing storms. This is not about excusing mistreatment. Boundaries are part of responsibility too. If someone disrespects you, you can and should respond with clarity and firmness. But even then, the energy you bring, the calm or chaos you embody, is your choice. Responsibility is empowerment. It is the quiet armor that protects your peace in a noisy world. It is the invisible compass that keeps you steady when life pulls you in 1,000 directions. And it is not a one-time decision. Every day presents hundreds of opportunities to practice. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when a friend disappoints you, when your plans fall apart, each moment asks, will you react blindly or respond consciously? Will you blame or will you own? These small moments shape your character. They build a foundation of strength that cannot be shaken by the behavior of others or the unpredictability of life. They forge resilience, not loud or showy, but quiet, steady, unbreakable. Taking full responsibility for your reactions is not just a skill, it is a way of life. It is a declaration that you will no longer be at the mercy of forces outside your control. It is a commitment to live from within, anchored to your own values, guided by your chosen response. Own your reactions. Own your peace. Own your life. But this journey doesn't end here. As you claim this power, there will be times when you face conflict, misunderstanding, or even betrayal. Moments when your inner calm is tested by the harshness of others. The next essential step is learning to release what no longer serves you. Ego, pride, grudges, those silent thieves of peace that weigh heavy on your mind and heart. Because true responsibility also means knowing when to hold firm and when to let go. Letting go is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength, the strength to choose peace over pride, wisdom over vindication, freedom over resentment. So as you walk this path of ownership, prepare yourself to embrace the power of releasing, the liberation that comes from setting down the burdens that no longer serve your growth. And with that, you will be ready to step forward with clarity and calm into the next phase of your mastery, releasing ego and pride to reclaim the quiet power of peace. You've taken full responsibility for your reactions. You've claimed the power to choose how you respond to life's chaos. Now it's time for the next crucial step on this path to inner freedom, the practice of releasing ego, pride, and grudges. This is the heavy armor that many wear without even realizing it. It feels like protection, like standing your ground, defending your identity. But in truth, it's a weight that drags down your spirit, chains your peace, and blinds you from true strength. Ego whispers that you must always be right. It tells you any slight is a personal attack, any loss of face an unforgivable wound. Pride insists that forgiveness is weakness, that letting go of anger is surrender. Grudges convince you that holding on to resentment is your shield against future harm. But the Stoics teach us a deeper truth. Marcus Aurelius once asked himself, will you be angry with the world as if the world would notice? What if all that anger, all that pride, all those grudges are like drinking poison and hoping someone else will suffer? Releasing ego does not mean thinking less of yourself. It means needing less from the world to confirm your worth. It means standing firmly in who you are without requiring constant validation. When your ego is quiet, you do not crumble at criticism. You do not feel the need to dominate every conversation or prove yourself at every turn. You no longer fear being wrong, because your identity is not built on a fragile pedestal of always being right. Releasing pride is not passivity. It is choosing dignity over domination. Pride demands victory. Dignity demands honor. When you release pride, you can apologize sincerely when you're wrong. You can forgive without forgetting, and you can walk away from conflicts that would otherwise consume your peace. You can disagree fiercely but fairly, correct firmly but kindly, and lead with quiet confidence rather than loud assertion. Grudges are the hardest chains to break. They feel justified, righteous even. They feed the illusion that by holding on to every insult, every betrayal, you protect yourself from being hurt again. But the truth is, grudges imprison you more than anyone else. They rent space in your mind, allowing your past wounds to continue to cut you, again and again, long after the moment has passed. Forgiveness, in the Stoic sense, is not about forgetting or excusing harm. It is about refusing to let past pain define your future. It is choosing freedom even when others have been unjust. Seneca, a master of resilience, said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." Healing is breaking the chain of bitterness. It's choosing peace over perpetual conflict. It's reclaiming your life from the grip of resentment. This release is not a one-time event. It is a daily discipline. A choice made in the small moments when your pride says, "Hold on," and your ego screams, "Fight back." When you feel the sting of criticism rising, breathe deeply and remind yourself, "I am more than this moment." When pride tempts you to dig in your heels, pause and ask, what matters more, winning this battle or winning my peace? When resentment surges, soften your heart and whisper, "I will not carry this fire any longer." As you practice, something extraordinary happens. The mind grows lighter. The heart beats quieter. You move through life with less armor, but greater invulnerability. Not because you are untouched by pain, but because you are unhardened by it. Imagine the freedom of waking each day unburdened by old grudges, of meeting challenges without the need to defend your ego, of apologizing when you're wrong, forgiving when others stumble, and moving forward with your dignity intact. This is not weakness. This is strength refined by wisdom. Strength born not from force, but from letting go. Releasing ego and pride clears space in your mind and heart for growth, for connection, for genuine peace. It frees you from the exhausting cycle of proving, defending, and reacting. And when you let go of grudges, you open the door to compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. Because you realize that holding on to anger only harms you. It keeps you stuck in the past, preventing you from fully living in the present. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control what others do or say, but we always control how we carry it inside us. Your inner life is your true domain. Protect it fiercely by releasing what weighs it down. This practice will prepare you to set healthy boundaries, another vital tool on your path. Boundaries are the lines you draw to protect your peace, your time, your dignity. But without releasing ego, pride, and grudges, your boundaries risk becoming walls, rigid, isolating, and full of resentment. Releasing these burdens allows you to set boundaries with calmness and kindness, not bitterness and anger. It lets you communicate your needs clearly, without apology or aggression. So as you cultivate this strength of release, prepare to embrace the next step, setting healthy boundaries and communicating with clarity. This is how you maintain peace in a chaotic world. How you build relationships rooted in respect, not resentment. How you guard your energy without closing off your heart. The journey of mastery is not about holding on tightly. It's about knowing when to hold on and when to let go. Let go of ego. Let go of pride. Let go of grudges. And step into a lighter, freer, more powerful version of yourself. You've walked a profound path today, a journey into the depths of your own mind, heart, and soul. You've learned that true power isn't found in reacting impulsively, in clinging to ego, pride, or grudges. No, true strength is born in the sacred space between stimulus and response, in the choices you make every single day. You've discovered that mastering your emotions is not about suppressing them, but about understanding them deeply, naming them without fear, and letting them move through you without controlling you. You've seen how mindfulness, being fully present in each moment, turns ordinary life into extraordinary opportunity. You've embraced the radical courage it takes to face yourself honestly, to accept your imperfections, and to walk the path of growth with fierce compassion, for others, but most importantly, for yourself. You now know that resilience is not a trait you're born with. It's a muscle you build through deliberate practice, through daily choices that honor your peace and your power. And you stand now on the edge of something greater, a life where you no longer surrender your peace to circumstances outside your control. A life where you set clear boundaries not as walls, but as bridges, to protect your energy and nurture meaningful connections. A life where every challenge, every setback, every difficult moment becomes fuel to propel you forward, not chains to hold you back. But here's the truth. This journey is not finished. It never is, because mastery is not a destination. It's a lifelong commitment, a practice that calls you back every morning to pause, breathe, observe, and choose. And that choice is yours. Will you keep giving your power away to frustration, fear, and reactive impulses? Or will you stand firm in your center, a beacon of calm and strength in a world too often lost in chaos? Will you carry the heavy burdens of past grudges and pride, or will you release them now, lighter and freer than ever before? Will you live on autopilot, distracted by noise and haste, or will you reclaim your life through the power of presence and self-awareness? The answer isn't some far-off someday. It's right here, right now, in this breath, in this moment, because the strength you seek is not waiting outside you. It is already within, quiet, steady, unshakable. So take this knowledge and make it your own. Let it guide you when the storms come. Let it remind you when emotions rise that you are not your feelings. You are the master of your mind, the captain of your soul. And as you walk this path, remember, you are not alone. Every person who has ever grown, every person who has ever faced hardship and chosen courage over despair, walks alongside you. If this message has ignited something in you, if it has opened a door to your own power and peace, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this today, your friend, your family, your colleague. Let's build a community of strength, resilience, and mindful living. Comment below with your own experiences or insights. Let's start a conversation that lifts us all higher. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of growth and empowerment. Together, we can transform not just ourselves, but the world around us, one pause, one breath, one conscious choice at a time. Remember, you are stronger than your circumstances. You are wiser than your fears. And you are capable of living a life defined not by reaction, but by intentional, unwavering strength. Step into that power. Own your peace. Live your truth. Because this is your life. This is your moment. And the strength within you is waiting to rise.